talking, we're not ready yet. We start right at 8 o'clock. We don't start right.
Yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai, yanai lai, yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai, yanai lai, yanai lai lai lai, yanai lai lai, yanai lai lai lai. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la.
Page 142, Shalom Aleichem. So we welcome the angels that come and visit us and stay with us for Shabbat.
Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem leShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mihi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. So this is not Cantor Cohen, for those who are like, my glasses, I think. This is Ellie Sherman, who has been studying with Cantor Cohen and has been part of our congregation for a while now, a student, no longer a student at UBC. Now you're a Jewish professional all unto yourself. Cantor Cohen and Rabbi Cohen are off this week. They were in a conference actually in Montreal at Temple Emmanuel Beth Shalom until just this morning when they flew back. But I was talking to her this morning to check and make sure that she was okay. And as I spoke to Rabbi Grishko as well, the rabbi of that congregation, a historic Reformed congregation in Montreal, which if you hadn't heard, but it sounds like you have, was firebombed early this morning. Fortunately, nobody was injured. And the damage was relatively modest, as I understand it. But still, the emotional hit that takes, and I'm going to talk about it later tonight, is significant on our community. Sanctuaries are supposed to be just that, safe and sheltered places. And we feel the sense of vulnerability, and we certainly feel a sense of camaraderie and connection with Jews all over Canada, and particularly in that congregation right now. And the grandparents of the bat mitzvah, the b'nai mitzvah, are members of the congregation as well. So we're glad that you're here, and we're glad that everybody is safe there. Our service is going to continue now with the lighting of Shabbos candles, and we want to ask Laura and Andre and Cynthia and Avi to come up and help us do that. So come over here first. We're going to do this reading. Somebody's going to do it.
Okay. Do you want to take
Why don't the two of you do it together, and you can each do a part.
These are your parts.
Those are your parts.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own way, be among those who kindle light.
Terrific. We're going to come over here to the candles. And if you'll take the middle candle and light the other two. Wait, let her do it. You did the reading. Everybody's got to have a part.
Very well is.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The cantor's going to lead the blessing. 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Nothing for you to do. They did it all. So go have a seat.
Supervising.
Come have a seat. Thank you. Supervising. That's a very important role. So we do have one more thing to do as we begin our Shabbat service, and that's to ask our B'nai Mitzvah to come up for a second. August and Josie. In our congregation, we begin Shabbat as we end Shabbat with bisamim, with the sweet spices of Havdalah. You guys know what to do. And so we're going to pass out some satchels of spices, cloves and lavender. At the end of Shabbat, we breathe in the bisamim to fill up the empty spaces inside of our souls when the Shabbos angels leave us. And here we begin Shabbat by making a sweet place inside of our souls. So breathe deeply, breathe in the sweetness of Shabbat, and then pass them down the row. And we're going to continue now with the rest of Kabbalat Shabbat.
Lechuna Ranana can be found on page 130. Lechuna Ranana, yai lai 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 lai, ladonai, yai lai 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 lai, naria, yai lai 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 lai, letzor yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. Let us sing out to God, maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea
Page 134. Zamru Adonai, sing unto God.
Zamru Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamru Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamru, zamru l'Adonai. Zamru, zamru l'Adonai. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra.
We'll turn to page 138 for L'cha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride. In Kabbalistic times, the Kabbalists of Svat would go out into the field. This is in the time of Isaac Luria. The writer of the Zohar, of the Kabbalah, would go out into the fields to greet the Sabbath bride as the sun was setting. And so we take ourselves back to that place in northern Israel in our minds as we welcome Shabbat as though it were a bride or a queen entering in all its royal regalia. Shabbat should enter in with us. Page 138.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 1. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu elam yuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litchila. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshavat tchila. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 3. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kol mitzeim etov afecha. Rav lach shevet v'mekavecha, ve'hu yachamul alaychem la. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, ki va'orech kumi uri. Uri, shir daveri, kevod Adonai alayich egla. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Olecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We'll rise and face the door to greet the Sabbath bride.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, הולך דורי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, הולך דורי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Will remain standing unless you're a bubby holding a grandchild on your lap, then you can remain seated. We're going to ask August and Josie to come up to help lead the rest of our service as we turn in our prayer books to page 263, remaining standing for Chatzi Kaddish, 263.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברך יראה וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודש בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Now it works.
Please be seated.
Page 265, we'll join together a prayer for evening Ma'ariv Aravim.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bidbaro Ma'ariv Aravim V'chokhmah Poteach Sharim U'bitbuna Meshane Itim U'machalif et Hazmanim U'mesader et HaKochavim B'mishmerotehem Barakira Kirisono Borei Yom V'layla Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'choshech Mipnei Or U'mavir Yom Uvein Laila U'mavdil Bein Yom Uvein Laila Adonai Tzvaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Ba'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'araib Aravim.
Page 266. If you like that singing, just wait, here comes more.
Avat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ata Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al Ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shochbeinu u'vkumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam le'olam ba'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem neged yomam v'layla Ve'achavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נשלבך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Michamocha is the top of page 270, a song of redemption, a song sung at Freedom's Shore.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u v'necha, bokei al yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Good clapping. One of the things actually that makes me most nervous, I think, about being a rabbi is public clapping. I just can't find the beat, so you guys are ahead of me there. On page 271 are the words of Hashkivenu. They're part of Shema Al Mitah, which might be a long name for something that many of us have been doing since we were children, which is a bedtime prayer. And whether it's in Hebrew or in English, whether it's these words or other words, the idea that when we lay down at night, there is a sense of both relief and trepidation. That we made it through the day, but what is it going to bring? From when we are little and we think of monsters in the closet, and when we are old and we think about our children that might not be at home and wondering where they are and are they safe and are they home. We ask God's protection for a sukkot shlomecha, a shelter of peace, to hover over us, over all we love, and over Israel. Hashkivenu, page 271.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, leShalom, ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ata Adonai, ha'pores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 272, V'shamru.
Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam, beini uvein, bnei Yisrael, beini uvein, bnei Yisrael, beini uvein, bnei Yisrael, oti le'olam, yam-ra-ra-ra, Shabbat, Shabbat, yum ba da 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 da. Shabbat, Shabbat, yum ba da 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 da. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz vayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash Yam ba da da da. Shabbat, Shabbat, yam ba da da da. Shabbat, Shabbat, yam ba da da da. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
We'll turn to page 273 as we rise for the Amidah. Adonai Sefatai Tiftahu, Fi Agidi Hilatecha, Eternal God, help us find the words that we might speak with you in prayer. Page 274.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Anorah, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konech Hakol V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Memigula Livnei B'nehem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozir U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magin Avraham Bezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Metim Ata Rab Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mehakel Chayim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Beracham Ibramim Somech Noflim Verofech Holim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Afar Michamo Chabal Gevur Umidom Elach Melech Mimit Umechayeh Umatmiya Yeshua V'neman Atah L'chayot Meitim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayecha Meitim
Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh ukdoshim v'chol yom yehalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. We'll continue page 279 with Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael utefilatam be'ahava tekabel utehi leratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael amecha El karov lechol korav penei el avadecha v'choneinu shefoch ruchacha aleinu v'techezena eineinu v'shuvecha letzion berachamim Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato letzion letzion.
So we come in our, oh, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. You can, you're allowed to talk. Okay. We come in our service to a prayer in the middle of the Amidah. The Amidah is the central part of our service, and it's what replaced sacrifice after the temple was destroyed for a second time. And the rabbis said we have to do with words what we used to do with the sacrificing of grain and of animals and those things. And so all of that emotion, all that intentionality was put into words. And in the midst of all of that, they felt that people were often asking for things, complaining about things, but not doing enough thanking for things. And so they placed within the structure of the service a hoda'ah, a prayer of gratitude or thanksgiving, which there was a sacrifice for. But when left to their own devices and not required to say thank you, people tend not to do so. And so they put in this moment in our service to offer praise, or sorry, not praise, to offer appreciation for the blessings in our life. And sometimes we like to stop and collect some blessings from the congregation, especially in weeks like it has been this past week where we could use some good news. So who has something good going on in their life that they are grateful for? A blessing, a simcha to share. Yes?
My granddaughter is graduating from UBC.
Fan-
From UVic.
From UVic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what's she getting a degree in? Do you remember? Do you know?
Economics.
Economics. That's fantastic. We could use some of those right now. Mazel tov. Yes.
I'm very proud of my niece and nephew on their accomplishment and their b'nai mitzvah.
Yes.
And my sister-in-law.
Josie and August being called to Torah tomorrow morning. That's wonderful. And to the whole family, Mazal Tov. Yes. Yeah. Wow, B'Shah Tova. We say, instead of saying Mazel Tov, because they're a little superstitious in Judaism, you say B'Shah Tova, may it happen at a good hour. Very pragmatic. Yes.
My niece, I'm expecting my niece to come from Israel. So hopefully everything will be okay.
God willing.
She can fly out.
God willing. Nasiat Tova, a safe journey. Yes.
My granddaughter is singing from the people.
Indeed she is. You win. You win, Bubby. You win. Anyone else? Any other simchas and celebrations? Yes, Freeman. That's what, Gabby, you're doing the Trek program? That's fantastic. That's great. Mazel tov for getting accepted to that. Anyone else? Anything? Well, for all of those things, we say, Baruch atah Adonai hatov v'hametiv. Blessed you, Adonai, our God, for all that is good and wonderful in our lives. And we could say together, Amen. And Ellie is going to lead us in Ba'al Nisecha, which is the fourth line in the Hebrew from the bottom.
ועל ניסך שבכל יום, ערב ובוקר וצהריים, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך.
Page 282, a prayer for peace, Shalom Rav.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם.
We'll take a moment for our own silent prayers and meditation. Tefilat Sheba Lev, the private prayers and meditations of the heart.
יהיו לרצון. אמרי פי ויון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון. אמרי פי ויון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי וגואלי.
The Misha Barach, a prayer for healing, is on page 371. At this time, we ask God's blessing of healing upon those in our family and our circle of friends and community who are sick and in need of this blessing. In a moment, I'll invite you to add the names to those who have been shared with us. Albert Langado, Penina Batsara, Michael ben Eliyahu Ufesha, Sharon Staley, Larry Staley, Ron Wask, Bruce Howitt, Kalman Oizer Oren, Joy Johnson, Alana Ruckberg, Joe Skodel, Hannah Bild, Morris Richter, Ken Newman, Avaya Ruth Bot Mendel Shoshana, Nomi Kaplan, Layla Douglas, Ellen Barbary, Ruth McPhee, Annie Bross Rothenberg, Jan Schloss, Cadence Quibell, Pearl Feldman, Shoshana Botdina, Libby Gozer, Ron Stewart, Sandy Merwitzer, Raphael Ben Sara, Chana Bat Meir Avraham Vashero, David Shlomo Gorney, Janet Gelb. If there are others in need of this prayer for healing, I invite you to stand and call their names out one by one. We'll join together in the Misha Barach, page 371.
Misha Barach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Barach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. August and Josie Mazel Tov again. Congratulations. We're looking forward to tomorrow. I know you're looking forward to it also, maybe for it being over, but we're looking forward to the whole thing. A welcome to everybody from out of town. So Montreal, who else is here from out of town? Anybody? From where? Montreal. Okay, did you bring bagels? You got to go back. Anybody else from out of town? Anyone? No, that's it. You're all locals. Okay. A few announcements of things that are going on at the synagogue. Things are starting to wind down a little bit for the summer, but our sisterhood has their Book and a Bite, which will be this coming Tuesday, to discuss Memorial Days by Geraldine Brooks. That's on Wednesday. That's either on Tuesday, June 9th at 7 o'clock via Zoom, or in person on Wednesday, June 10th at 10:30 in the morning here at the synagogue. Our sisterhood is also having their Tikkun Olam Go-Go's and the Welsia Go-Go's for a vibrant outdoor craft fair on Sunday, June 14th. The information's on your handout. A very important program in our community on June 17th here at the congregation, but really for the entire community, is the Gift of Life organ donation. I hope that you'll come to the program to hear from those who have donated, those who have received, and to learn about the intricacies and the mechanics and the process of it in our community. And if you don't come, but although I hope you do, as I've been saying for the last number of weeks, let me just clarify one thing. No matter what you seem to remember from Hebrew school, organ donation is a mitzvah in Judaism. Some of us grew up with this idea that we have to be buried with all of our parts at the same time. That is true and not true. Yes, all of our parts eventually need to be buried, but they don't have to be buried with us. And if they can do good to bring life to another, that's a tremendous mitzvah. It's one of these weird mitzvahs that you can't require another person, but it is one of the highest things that one can do is to save another life. So whether you come or not, at least know that, and then hopefully you'll come and also register or do all the other things that you can to make that possible. Exactly. Just before that, on Monday, June 15th, is our Temple Sholom annual general meeting, our AGM. Hopefully you saw a notice that came out today about that, and it's the construction schedule for things that are going to be happening here at the synagogue. It's going to be busy over the summer and then very busy after the High Holy Days. So just please bear with us as we're going to have to navigate around the building a little bit. Any announcements that I missed? Anything? Okay. So, though it's not Yom Kippur, I want to begin with a confession. It's kind of a simple but maybe obvious confession. I am tired. And I know many of you are too. Not only physically tired, which I am, there's plenty of that. But we're all emotionally tired, I think. I think we're spiritually tired. I think we're tired from the alerts on our phones, tired from the news, the tweets. I still insist on calling them tweets. I can't call them X's or whatever they're supposed to be called. I'm tired from the posts and the reels and the Facebook updates. In fact, I went off of Facebook as a gift to myself over Hanukkah for a couple of months. And then I went back on it because I had to do things for the shul. It was such a gift to be off, but it was no solution. I was just burying my head in the sand. All of those problems were there. I just wasn't paying attention to them for a while. It's like ignoring a leak on your roof. It's still leaking, and one day it's going to be a real problem. I'm tired from the meetings about security. I was sort of doing a little tallying up. I think 30% of my time now as a rabbi is spent in meetings about security or anti-Semitism or both. I'm tired of writing statements. I wrote 2 today about Montreal. I'm tired of writing op-eds. I wrote 3 this past week. I'm tired of the briefings and the meetings with politicians. I'm tired from wondering what will happen next. I'm tired from explaining ourselves. I'm tired from defending things that should need no defense. I'm tired from having to say again and again that the way it is being used, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. That doesn't mean you can't criticize Israel, but the way that it is being used is anti-Semitic. I'm tired from having to constantly remind people that Jewish children should be safe in school, that Jewish students should be safe on campus, that Jewish families should be safe walking into synagogue. And I'm tired of having to constantly qualify that by saying also, and everybody else should be safe too. Everybody else is safe. I'm tired of having to say that Jewish Canadians should be safe from being safe just being Jewish in Canada. And then just when we think that we've found a moment of breath, another synagogue is attacked this morning. Temple Emmanuel, Beth Shalom in Montreal, that historic Reformed congregation, was firebombed. And thank God no one was hurt, but let us not allow the absence of physical injury to diminish the severity of what happened. Cantor Cohen, as I said, for those that were here on time, not judging, just saying, was just at that synagogue yesterday for a conference. She left Montreal this morning. And like us, they probably have a bar bat mitzvah tomorrow morning, and according to my friend and colleague, Rabbi Lisa Grushko, the building still smells of smoke. Imagine walking into that for your bar bat mitzvah tomorrow. A synagogue is not just a building. It's a house of prayer. It's a house of learning, of memory, of mourning, of celebration and hope. And so to attack a synagogue is to attack the sacred space where a community gathers to affirm life. And they know that. That's why the haters do it. Here in Vancouver, we know that pain intimately. Last year, Sharet Tzedek was attacked by a firebomb just down the street. I was there shortly after they put out the fire with the mayor. In 1985, our own Temple Sholom was firebombed and rendered unusable. And our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Bregman, ran into the building to rescue those Torah scrolls, but not all of them, because 2 were not saved. But the people were safe. And that menorah, which sits right over there, if you look closely on the right branch, still shows the wounds from the fire of hate that engulfed it. These are not distant stories to us. They live in the memory of this congregation. They live in the body of Canadian Jewish life. They are part of the generational trauma that has yet to skip a generation. And what makes this morning's attack even more painful is that it came just days after the Prime Minister stood in a synagogue, another Reform synagogue, Holy Blossom Temple in Toronto, and spoke about anti-Semitism in Canada. He said clearly that Canada's civic compact is failing Jewish Canadians. He spoke about covenant, about brit. He spoke about the promise of Canada. He spoke about the need for Jews in this country to be able to visibly, fully, joyfully be Jewish. And those words mattered. They still do. But this morning reminded us painfully that words alone cannot repair what has been broken. A covenant is much more than a speech or sympathy or thoughts and prayers. If I hear thoughts and prayers one more time, I'm going to lose it. A covenant has to be lived, enforced, and protected. Or in the words of our tradition, which we sang just moments ago, Shamor v'zachor. A covenant has to be kept alive in our memory and guarded against violation. A covenant has to mean something. This past week, I officiated at 2 weddings. I have a third one coming up this Sunday. It's the hat trick for rabbis. When I stood beneath the chuppah with those wedding couples last week, and when I do it again this Sunday, they will enter into a covenant with each other. A covenant of marriage not unlike our covenant with Canada. If one says to the other, I will protect you, but only when it's not too hard, or only when it's in my own self-interest, the glass is not the only thing that's broken beneath that chuppah. Hearts and trust are broken. Why marry somebody who cares only about you when they need something from you? You never would. And that's the question many Canadian Jews are asking right now. Canada, do you care about your Jews? Or have you ever really cared? Or is it all just for show? And at the very same time, there is this strange and almost impossible truth. Jewish life continues and thrives. And that's maybe the most important sentence that I could say tonight. Jewish life continues. In these same exhausting weeks, I have not only stood under chuppahs and watched couples begin their married lives together, I've officiated at baby namings and watched parents place ancient Hebrew names upon their Jewish souls. I've stood with B'nai Mitzvah students as they chanted Torah. You'll do it again tomorrow. I've taught our community. I've stepped in with pride into Jewish adulthood. And tomorrow, you guys are going to do that together. And many of you, your friends, will come and they'll celebrate with you. And in these same infuriating weeks of unchecked hate directed at the Jewish people, I have sat with families mourning at funerals. I've visited in hospital rooms. I've seen fear and sorrow, love and courage, sometimes all in the same day, often in the same day. That's what it means to be a rabbi. It's what I love about what I do. But more deeply, this is what it means to be part of a Jewish community. We do not live one emotion at a time. We bury our dead and we name our babies sometimes, as with my Wednesday of this past week, on the same day. We march into government offices and we demand that they stop dancing around the issues, and then we go dance at weddings. We sit beside hospital beds and then we cheer teenagers chanting Torah. We worry about the future, and then we watch the future grab hold of that Torah and pass it or receive it from their parents, lador vador, from generation to generation. Last Sunday, our religious school ended its year. Nearly 200 students, more than 200 students. Jen Jaffe, our head of our school, is here in the back. The largest class that we've ever had. We have the largest religious school in all of Canada, supplementary school. And the families did not want to leave at the end of the day. Can you imagine that, not wanting to leave Hebrew school? Unheard of. And perhaps one of the most unexpected things happened right now, and almost this very day. It happened right now. And perhaps one of the most expected things happening right now is that almost every day I hear from someone who wants to explore Judaism, someone who wants to talk about conversion, someone who is drawn towards this people, this tradition, this way of life. What a bewildering time to want to be Jewish. So many are out to get us, and so many are seeking to join us. How do we hold both of those truths? This week's Torah portion, Baha'alotecha, begins with the lighting of the menorah and the Mishkan, not the Hanukkah, but the menorah, the lights that now are symbolized by the Ner Tamid, the light that showed God's presence in the camp. And God tells Moses to instruct Aaron to raise up the lamps. It's a weird phrase. The Hebrew phrase is beautiful, Baha'alotecha et hanerot, when you raise up the lights. The rabbis noticed the Torah doesn't simply say, and it could say, when you light the lamps. We have the language for that. Lahadlik ner, when you light the lamps. But that's not what this says. Baha'alotecha et hanerot, when you raise them up. Rashi explains that the priests had to hold the fire of the lamp, hold the fire to the lamp oil, until each flame could rise on its own. Like holding a match to a wick and waiting for it to catch. You've got to stay there until, and it's harder with oil, you've got to stay there till it catches. And that's our work right now. We are not only trying to survive the darkness, we are trying to raise up light, strong enough to stand on its own, light to erase the darkness. Jewish continuity is not automatic, we know that. Jewish courage is not automatic, we know that. And Jewish joy is not automatic, we know that too. Someone has to kindle it. Someone has to spark it. Someone has to protect it. Someone has to teach their child the Shema, to invite a teenager into leadership, to show up for a mourner, to dance at a wedding, to sit beside the sick, to bring food to a family, to celebrate a graduate, to welcome a seeker, to defend a synagogue, to call an elected official, to speak truth to power, to write the letter, to make the tzedakah donation, to come to services, to stay for Kiddush. Had Gad Yad. And someone has to refuse to let fear become the organizing principle of Jewish life. And I refuse to let fear become the organizing principle of Jewish life or this congregation. We will not live in fear. And that's how the flame rises. Jewish joy right now, it is subversive. It is countercultural. It is an act of spiritual resistance. Our enemies want Jewish life to shrink. They want us anxious and hidden and guarded and suspicious. They want us small. They want us to disappear. They want to erase us. They want Jewish life to become only security meetings and police reports and trauma responses. And some weeks it feels like that's all that it still is. That's all that I do. But that is not all that we should be doing. Yes, we must deal seriously with security and demand action from government. And yes, we must insist on enforcement, protection, and accountability. The time for condolences without consequences has passed. And if they form one more committee to study the problem, I am going to literally lose my mind. Which, of course, they did this week. So I'm giving this sermon because I am losing my mind. But our answer cannot be fear or isolation alone. The answer cannot be that we lower our heads and hide our kippot and tuck our Mogen Davids into our shirts. It can't be that we tell our children not to mention Israel, or accept that Jewish life must now take place behind guards and locked doors and whispered caution. A covenantal Canada must be a country where Jews can lift up their heads as Jews. And a covenantal Jewish community must be a community that remembers how to lift up its own lights, by our example, the lights of others. That's what it means to be an Or LaGoyim, a light unto the nations. We must meet darkness with light, as we always have. In our Parsha, Aaron was commanded to kindle light in the wilderness when our people were not yet settled, not safe, not yet home. The menorah was not lit in a palace. It was lit in the desert. It was lit amid uncertainty and fragility. It was lit while the people were still afraid, still complaining, still wondering whether the journey would ever end. And still God said, "Ba'alotecha et hanerot," lift up the lights. It was a beacon of hope, something to point to aspire to draw us near and to keep us warm physically and spiritually. And that's our command too. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And so tonight, even tired, even afraid, even heartbroken, we choose light and love over darkness and hate. We choose the light of this sanctuary and this Torah and this community. We choose the love of our people and our country, committed to see it through these hard times. A synagogue in Montreal filled with smoke this morning, but tonight this sanctuary is filled with Jews in prayer and in song. There was darkness, and now there is light. And so we demand action. We will protect our people. We will hold Canada to its covenant with us. And we will keep living Jewishly, visibly, fully, joyfully. Because Jewish life continues. Because the flame still rises. Because Yisrael High. Because the Jewish people live. And because here, the light is not going out. Shabbat Shalom. The service will continue, page 586, with Elena.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ודעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We have a minhag, a custom in our congregation, that at the end of Shloshim, at the end of 30 days of mourning, we do something called an askara. We invite a loved one of someone who has died during those past 30 days to come and share not a eulogy, but an insight, a lesson about their life so that they can live on inside of us. Our tradition teaches that when a person dies, their soul becomes part of everybody who knew them. And so by sharing their story with us, their soul expands its presence in this world. And so we want to ask Trudy Pekarsky to come up and share about her husband, Dan, who was a truly remarkable man and leader in our community, and even a more remarkable husband.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
A friend sent, "You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile that he has lived. You can close your eyes and hope that he will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left." I've been blessed to have Dan Pekarsky in my life for 63 years. These are the bare facts. Dan was 88, older than anyone in his family had lived. He had 3 children, 5 grandchildren, 4 careers, and hundreds of friends. But the facts don't tell you that Dan was totally honest, deeply principled, very smart, extremely community-minded, terribly funny, and possessed of beautiful blue eyes. He had the courage and the grace to fight a long battle with Parkinson's without complaint. He leaves a beautiful legacy for all who knew him, and a community which might only know him by the deeds he performed in their service, in our service, for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy. Dan was truly a remarkable man, the second president of our Jewish Federation, ran the campaign at the Talmud Torah for their renovation, but more than that, raised an incredible family and was a wonderful partner. We're going to turn now our thoughts to those who are not with us. Just as we remember Dan, we remember others who died during this past week or these past 30 days, whose families are in the midst of Shiva and Shloshim. As I read the name of your loved one, if you could please rise and remain standing. David Dacus, Sherry Lynn Fiedler, Jacob Kunin, Rosalind Lackman, Karen Leipzig, Dan Pekarsky, Ross Snyder, Harvey Shafran, Allison Wagman, and those for whom the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the death of your loved one, is on this Shabbat. As I read their name, if you could please rise. Sam Aaron, Sadie Abelson, Faye Esther Belichikov-Bard, Chaim Brody, Rivka Brudny, Ruth Cordrun, Fanny Com, Florence Cowling, Pearl Crystal, Perry Sheldon Davids, Egon Eisenberg, Marcos Eskenazi, Susan Everall, Leonard Fratkin, Bessie Gladstone, Naomi Groper-Steiner, Asser Harowitz, Ernest James, William Karlinski, Ida Kay, Robert Kemeny, Larissa Kozakov, Adam Langsman, Bernard Lehrer, Shirley Levine, Joyce Lichtman, Michael Livney, Alan Mandelman, Chaim Matakov, Efim Matakov, Bernard Meth, Leonard Mishler, Shirley Nerman, David Nittickman, Matt Panner, Isaac Parker, Mary Pina Cohen, Ann Radman, Russell Lewis Remick, Georges Rostaker, Vera Rosen, Gertrude Sandig, Fanny Shanin, Milton Schulman, Leah Silverman, Batya Singer, Gordon Slobin, Eric Starin, Janet Timko, Robert Vogel, Serge Weldon, Emil Wenner, James Kerr Wilson, Elizabeth Victoria Zacharias, Louis Duncan Zachs. If you've come to say Kaddish during this first year of mourning a loved one who's died during this past year, if you could stand and call their name out. If you've come to say Kaddish for any other reason, or if I mispronounced a name and you could please correct me, could you please stand and call those names out? Looking around and seeing those that have stood in mourning, we don't want them to stand alone, so we'll stand now by their side, providing the comfort of our presence as we turn to page 598 for Kaddish Yatom, inviting those who wish to join with the mourners in reciting these words. Yit Gadal, V'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divrah Hiruteh, V'yamlich Malchuteh, B'chayachon of Yom Echon, Uv'chayed Chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala Uvizman Kariv, V'yimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'lamei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitroman V'yitnaseh, V'yit Adar V'yit Alev V'yit Alal Shemei Kudisha B'richu, Le'elam Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tush B'chata V'nechemata, Damin Ron V'alma V'yimaru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'yimaru Amen. Osei Shalom B'romav, Huya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael, Okoyosh V'tevel, V'yimaru Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort the reed among us, and we say together, Amen. If August and Josie can join me over here, they're going to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. Do you need that? No. Hang on a second, guys. Let me get here a second. Kiddush cup. And the challah. Okay, ready? Right here. 1, 2, 3. Gotta hold, somebody's gotta hold it. 1, 2, 3.
Vayhi erev, vayhi boker, yom hashishi, vayachulu hashamayim, v'haaretz, v'echol tzevam, vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi'i, melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi'i, mikol melachto asher asa, vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i, vayakadesh oto, ki vo Shabbat mikol melachto, asher bara Elohim lasod. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho b'ahava v'ratzon chinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, chinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. It's grape juice, right?
Hopefully.
I'm not sure. No, okay. What do you think's under here? Could be anything. It's a challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. We'll join with Ellie in our closing song, Oseh Shalom. You guys can take this over to your parents.
Oseh shalom b'mrama, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'ala kol Yisrael, ve'ala kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Ose shalom, ose shalom bimroma. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Lai lai. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Get in there.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Please join us in our social hall for a kiddush sponsored by the families. Thank you.